Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Steve Cernak.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. First, I guess I should all welcome you to Cernak Island. I'm listening to Mark here, and it made me think a little bit about it. It's hard to believe. It's 4 years ago I was in the same position. I was standing up here. I was viewed as the young one on the table. And now I see everybody packing up and leaving, and I'm like, what's going on? But really, it's been a pleasure. I want to recognize both Nikki and Kent because over this 4-year period, I've come to know both of you much better, and you've both been a pleasure to work with. I can't believe I said that, Kent, but I did. So thank you to Margaret Kemple and to the Port Everglades Association Board of Directors for hosting this event. And I want to thank the business community as well as the Broward County Board of County Commissioners and the county administrative staff for their continued support for our initiatives in moving the growth of our seaport forward. And now I'll go through a high-level summary of our past year's performance. Containerized cargo. We're up 5% in fiscal year 2015 over 2014, and that's all due to growth from our terminal customers handling higher volumes of cargo. Our bulk and break bulk volumes are up 33% year over year. And one thing I want to address, there were some articles recently that talked about a neighboring port doing well and that the value of their cargo had increased dramatically. And the article sort of insinuated it was at our expense, at Port Everglades' expense. So we started looking at that, and it's a matter of how you measure your volume of cargo. This was measured in the context of value, and while it is true that the higher value of cargo moved through our neighboring port, I started looking at our volumes, and I found that our volumes are increasing. Why did the value go down? Well, I think one reasonable explanation is we all benefit from it when we fill up the gas tank in our cars. I think we've all noticed an appreciable drop in the price of fuel, but the volumes are up. There was some consolidation in the cargo space, and 2 carriers, one in Port Miami and one here, were both servicing the same ports, and they worked it out together, and they're sharing space on their ships, so they rejostled the deck. So it affected the value of the cargo, but I think you'll see as I go through the rest of the presentation, our numbers are growing, and that's a very positive aspect of this. There's one area that we had a downturn, though, that's on the cruise passengers. Next slide. We're down 5.7% in fiscal year 2015 after having a record 4 million passengers the year before. And the downturn was due to 2 fewer ships calling at the port over the summer months and one of the Oasis-class ships going to dry dock for a short period. But we continue to be one of the top 3 cruise ports in the world. In fact, we broke our own world record actually twice this past winter cruise season. It's been a question that I've been asked recently, what was the actual number? So I'm going to let you all know what it was today. The final count for a few weeks ago when we broke our record was we handled 55,885 passengers embarking and debarking in a single cruise day, including our daily ferry service. So that's something I think we should all be proud of. And you're hearing it today because we finally were able to confirm the number, and the prior world record that we held was set back in 2010. Petroleum, I've already addressed it in some way, but the volumes of petroleum increased by 4% in fiscal year 2015 over 2014. And year to date this year, we're currently ahead by 7%. We're up for the 3rd year in a row, And we're attributing this to lower consumer prices and a higher demand for jet fuel, which I think Mr. George has had a lot to do with here. So we continue to diversify our revenue stream. That's something that we're viewing as very important here. Containerized cargo, cruise, and petroleum make up 78% of the port's total revenue. And the other 22% is generated from real estate leases, parking, bulk and break bulk cargoes, and other services. But one of the focus has been to diversify our revenue stream better so that if we have a downturn in one sector, we can help bridge the gap as we move forward. With respect to economic impact, our new economic impact report has just been finalized and will be posted on our website shortly. The report's prepared by a nationally recognized maritime consultant who surveyed over 98% of the port's business community. And the results show that approximately $30 billion of economic activity was attributed to port operations in fiscal year 2015. Nearly $830 million of state and local taxes were generated. There were 12,840 direct local jobs. These are jobs that would not exist without the port. And more than 226,000 Florida jobs were generated, earning $8.9 billion in wages. Now we're going to address one of my favorite topics, as some of you may well have known, the deepening and widening of Port Everglades Channel. The goal of the project is to deepen the main navigation channels to 48 to 50 feet and widen the entrance channel and narrow knuckle area of the intercoastal waterway for safety. You know, the reason behind the project, we already handle the post-Panamax ships, those ships that are already too large to fit through the Panama Canal today, but these ships are coming in lightly loaded, which is inefficient. And if we leave that condition unattended, it will drive the business elsewhere. I think it's also important for everybody to understand that this project is actually a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers project. We are the local sponsor, or Broward County officially is the local sponsor for the project, which falls as to our, it's the port's responsibility to contribute those funds. The total cost is currently estimated at $374 million, of which the split between the federal government and Port Everglades is approximately 50-50. The state of Florida has already programmed funds in the Department of Transportation, and they've indicated their intent to fund half of our local share. We're currently in the pre-construction engineering and design phase. We received the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Chief's report in June of 2015. This allowed the port to move forward with the pre-construction engineering and design phase. This past January, the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works approved the report, and it was forwarded to Congress. Now Congress has to authorize the project under a new Water Resource Development Act bill, which we hope will be considered later this spring. And then the fun will begin. We get to start working on securing federal funding. A little bit on the environmental plan. I've said this before, and I think it's important that I say it again. The natural underwater environment is a priority for Port Everglades. And we recognize that approximately 15 acres of existing hard-bottom reef habitat will be impacted. And it's critical to Broward County and to the port that the mitigation plan put forward includes some progressive approaches, along with other approaches that have a proven track record for replenishing and enhancing the sensitive reef structure. At our recommendation, the Corps and the National Marine Fisheries Service developed a blended plan that includes traditional and more innovative approaches to environmental mitigation that's now being evaluated during the design phase. A key innovation being considered that we're excited about includes the planting of more than 100,000 new nursery-raised corals to enhance the existing reef areas in addition to the relocation of the existing corals. You may have seen recent articles about concerns with the impacts of the Port Miami deepening project. Be assured that we're paying attention to those reports and we're working closely with the Army Corps so that we can incorporate lessons learned into our project's design and construction. And in addition, the mitigation plan also includes restoring seagrasses and mangroves in Westlake Park and building environmentally friendly bulkheads throughout the Southport access channel. We'll talk about the future of Southport, the Southport turning notch extension. This project will lengthen the existing deep water turnaround area for cargo ships from 900 feet to 2,400 feet. It will add up to 5 additional desperately needed berths and 5 Super Post Panamax gantry cranes. The total cost of the project, including the cranes, it's estimated at about $424 million. There will be more than 3,000 construction jobs created. And as part of this project, there is some environmental component. It's the upland mangrove enhancement. It's a critical component of the project. We're replacing 8.7 acres of existing mangroves with about 16.5 acres of new mangroves. There were approximately 70,000, I'll call baby mangroves, planted, and they are currently, as the state says, trending towards success. We hope to have the existing environmental easement released to us this summer, at which point construction can begin. Part of this is new cranes, and we're currently working to expedite the purchase of 3 gantry cranes to handle the larger post-Panamax ships. It's one thing to bring larger ships in, it's another to handle them effectively, and if we keep the same equipment that we have and we bring larger ships in, all we've accomplished is that the ships will be at berth that much longer. We've been working very closely with the aviation department about the crane heights, and the good news is we're close to the airport. The bad news is we're close to the airport, so we have to find a happy medium to work together so that we can continue to flourish and grow. With terminal partnerships and our customers, over the past year we forged some partnerships with our terminal operators. The Southport turning notch has required relocation to several terminals, including Florida International Terminals and King Ocean. And I want to recognize that MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company, has made major investments in their terminal to increase their yard capacity, and included the purchase of 4 rubber-tired gantry cranes. Foreign trade zone relocation is another project that is a critical one to our future. The current facility is located on McIntosh Road. We intend to relocate it across the street from where it currently is. It's on a 16-plus acre site. We intend to have a 250,000 square foot building constructed there, and we're looking right now at various public-private partnership models that we could follow to make this happen. Northport. The future of Northport, and this slide's a little, it's not intuitive. Slip number 1's on the bottom, slip number 2's on the top. With slip number 1, we're going to widen the berth to handle larger petroleum tankers. The expansion will include new bulkheads and a reconfiguration of the berths. Slip 2, we're lengthening the slip by 250 feet for a total of 1,150 feet to handle the new generation of cruise lines that we expect to be serving in the upcoming years. Cruise happenings. We're working on new long-term agreements with Royal Caribbean and Carnival. Involved in that will be cruise terminals 25, 29, and possibly 21 to be renovated and restructured for the next generation of cruise ships. Last year, we completed the renovation of Cruise Terminal 4, which included the installation of beautiful artwork by the internationally known artist Dale Chihuly. And as art is an important element of the entire cruise guest experience, there's more to come. I have to recognize that Sea Trade Cruise Global Conference was held here at the Convention Center this past month and is coming here again in 2017 and 2018. It's 11,000 attendees and exhibitors. Cruise Terminal 4 was transformed into a venue that hosted the keynote address. And I have to thank Nikki and her staff because we all had to work together to make this happen. This is really big for this community. Global entry is here, and mobile passport control is closer to reality. And new ships will be coming in the 2016-17 season, Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, and Holland American Line MS Koningsdam. So that's my report.